Alright guys, Central Coast Disc Golf here with Peter McBride from a DGA Proline team, and we're going to talk rollers today. So Peter, when you're throwing rollers, what's the kind of technique you use for
So it depends on what type of roller you want to do. Most of the time, if you're facing this way and the tee pad's like this, you kind of want to step off to the side. So you get kind of come to the side and you come over, and the finish is that way. Because if you run up straight at it and you try to throw a roller, you're going to end up shanking it like right.
Okay.
So you kind of want to come up at an angle.
Because you're basically throwing on a big anhyzer, right?
Yeah, basically.
Okay. Okay. So for like say a low ceiling roller, what are you throwing? How do you throw it?
It doesn't quite have to be as flippy as a sky roller, but I'm either throwing the undertow or an XL.
Okay. And you throw them pretty much flat, maybe just a little bit of anhyzer, depending on
if it's
the
a
height.
lower ceiling roller, you kind of want to do more of a cut roller, so more force it to the ground. So yeah, because it has to be really flippy if you throw it flat for low. But for more of a sky roller, you want to throw something more flippy that gets way up there on an ante, then turns more and lands.
Okay. So we got sky rollers, low rollers. So how do you want it to land if you were going for max distance on a roller?
It all depends on the wind, but most of the time you want it to land kind of at an angle like that. So because the disc is going to want to finish on the flight plate.
It wants to finish upside down?
This way. If it's sidearm, it's going to finish that way. So it's going to roll like that for a while, then stand up and come to the right.
Okay, so if we put a little angle on it, you get a little S travel.
Just like an S turn.
Sure. Okay. So what do you do for talk about wind in rollers? How that affects your roller shots?
The tailwind's probably the optimal conditions for a roller, but the headwind, you're probably not going to want to throw a roller. But with left to right, if you're throwing a backhand, you're going to want to let the wind turn the roller over a little more. So it doesn't. So when it lands, you're going to have a little more angle, so then the wind holds it up.
Okay.
But a right to left, it'll be a little opposite. You want to turn it over a little more.
Okay.
And the wind holds it.
So tailwind will make it go longer, and it won't turn over quite as quick. And then a headwind will push it over, and it'll finish sooner.
Yeah, a headwind will just it won't battle very far on the headwind for rolling.
Okay. And then talk about, let's say, longer or shorter grass, or maybe dirt, like how that affects the roller.
This is probably the best conditions. This, like cut grass or just dirt is the best conditions, and you don't really want to throw it if it's tall, out of control grass.
Okay. I've noticed that maybe like dirt, it'll finish a little faster than long grass. Long grass kind of holds it straighter longer, I would say, almost. You say that's true?
Definitely.
Okay. Cool, guys. If you have any more questions for Peter, just leave them in the comments. And thanks for your time, Pete.
Yeah, thanks, Ian.
All right, guys, let's check out some shots. So here is Peter throwing a backhand roller, a little slow-mo. And Peter likes to throw the sky roller. He'll throw it with a touch of anhyzer with an understable disc. I think this is either an undertow or an XL. And you can see he puts it out on an ante, and it'll flip and hit the ground. And we're dealing with a little bit of left to right wind here, so you can see it's kind of pushing it a little farther to the right than normal, but it's still going to finish to the right. It's kind of nice for a roller because it goes the opposite way of your normal backhand shot. Compensate for a crappy forehand. Mine is terrible. So here's another slow-mo drive with Peter. Kid's form is ridiculous. Throws so far. So there you can see with slight anhyzer angle coming out of his hand, and then the flippy disc turns it over even more in the air, and it finishes to the right on its flight plate pretty predictably.
Yeah.
I threw this one in because see this disc gets a little stable. Threw it a little high, so it kind of stabled out, and it just goes to the left. A roller that just goes to the left it's called a cut roller. So just a little FYI on that one. And I throw rollers a little bit different than Peter. I throw them with kind of a stable disc, and I will put a lot of anhyzer on it and a lot of off-axis torque with my horrible form. And you can see it coming out on a bigger anhyzer angle than Peter, and it kicks down and rolls straight. And it's something to do, like something to know is that stable discs will turn over later than understable discs when they're on the ground. So it'll go straighter longer. So there's kind of two approaches. And that was a Star Archon, pretty new, and this is my most beat-in destroyer. It's like my D4 destroyer, if you will. And you can see I really lean back a lot and put a ton of ante on it. And a little bit of off-axis torque helps it turn over too. But it works for me. I'm a big fan. I'll either throw my really beat-in destroyer or my Star Archon for big sky rollers, and then I'll throw a Mamba for really low ceiling rollers. Mambas are super flippy. You can see how Peter's running right to left in the box, and the anhyzer is going to make your disc go left to right. So this is more of a low ceiling roller. You can see Peter put a lot of anhyzer on it, and that'll help the disc get to the ground quicker. And then you can see it finish to the right. That's a pretty good bomb even for a low roller. Some more shots. This is my destroyer again. So it's kind of two different, slightly different approaches, but you know, both work. It really kind of depends on the situation. And here's my Archon. Catch the Reddit stamp on there. Oh, it looks pretty good. We had this way there was a little right to left wind, so that's what kind of kicked out to the left farther, and didn't finish as part of the right. Again, touch of anhyzer with the flippy disc and have it push over. And you can see how far it finishes right with the right wind. Can really compensate for a bad forehand. And they go really far. I mean, some of the longest shots I've ever had have been rollers. Here's just a beautiful one for Peter. Going really far. It's probably went 500. That's almost the perfect angle where it landed for a max D shot. And this fence, from that dirt to the fence, is pretty much 500. I mean, he tags the fence. And this is another beautiful one from Peter. See that angle it lands at? That's almost exactly what you want, if not exactly. I guess it kind of depends on the wind, but that was a beautiful throw. And here's some forehand rollers. And I like to throw forehand rollers with something more stable. Like I'll throw it with some of my more stable Star Destroyers or Firebirds. And it's almost exactly between a forehand and a tomahawk. It's that 45-degree angle. And you see Peter lays down a beautiful one right here. And it's going to finish the opposite way of a backhand roller because the flight plate's on the other side, obviously. So you can see it finish left. So if you're a forehand guy and your backhand's not so strong and you can roll it, the forehand roller is an option. And here's Peter with another forehand roller. Yep, beautiful angle on that one. I think that's a Tsunami. Yeah. I'm not quite sure. And this is one of my most stable Star Destroyers. Star Destroyer. If you can see the stamp through the flight plate. And Oat is not always bad when you're throwing rollers because it's going to help you turn it over, as it did right there for me. And I could definitely throw a farther backhand roller than I can for a forehand roller. But Kevin throws some really amazing forehand rollers. There's another one from Pete. See, the wind's kind of making it finish funny, but it got out there pretty good. Alright guys, that is all we got for the roller tutorial. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them, or I'll grab Peter and see what he says. Peter also donated a Tsunami, so whoever asks the best question, you will win a Tsunami, and I'll mail it to you. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Catch you around.